So, welcome students for the physical chemistry lecture, and today you are going to study what is the radioactive equilibrium. You know, a radioactive element, it disintegrates and it produces a daughter nuclei. If that daughter nuclei it is also radioactive, then it disintegrates and it produces its daughter nuclei, and so on. Up till now, there is a formation of non-radioactive element. Suppose, for example, A, it is our parent radioactive element. It gives B as a daughter, B gives C as a daughter, and C it gives D as a daughter. And lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, these are the decay constants of the disintegration of parent into daughter and daughter into parent. And here a radioactive equilibrium is established when a parent is a long lived and daughter is a short lived. That means the half lifetime of the parent it is greater than the half lifetime of the parent. And again there are two radioactive equilibriums. One it is the secular radioactive equilibrium, and the second it is the transient radioactive equilibrium. We will see one by one. Here in this lecture we describe the activity of sample in which one of radionuclide produces one or more radioactive offspring in a chain. If a parent nucleotide N1 decays to a daughter nucleotide N2, which is in turn decays, then the rate of growth of nucleotide N2 becomes, that means we can write the dN2 by dt, that means rate of disintegration of daughter, it is equal to lambda 1, that is decay constant, into N1 minus lambda 2 into N2, and let it is our expression number 1. Lambda 1 N1 is the growth rate of the daughter from the parent, and lambda 2 and N2 is the decay rate of the daughter. By integrating above equation, we get this equation lambda 2 in bracket a1 upon lambda 2 minus lambda 1 into e raised to minus lambda 1 by into t minus e raised to minus lambda 2 into t. This equation 2 gives the net activity of nucleotide 2 at time t due to the growth from decay of nucleotide N1. If there is an initial activity A2 of radionuclide N2, then the term A2 into e raised to minus lambda t has to be added to equation number 2, and we will have this equation. Thus, equilibrium occurs when a fixed ratio exists between the activity of parent and daughter. Then equilibrium exists. The activity of daughters is decreasing according to half-life time. Then there are three cases here. Secular equilibrium T1, it is very greater than T2. That means parent is long-lived. And transient equilibrium, that means T1 is greater than T2. Here half-life time of parent is no longer than that of daughter. That means there is a no too much difference between half-life of parent and daughter, and there is a no equilibrium established when T1 is less than T2. That is half-life time of parent is shorter than that of daughter. Here the first type of equilibrium, it is secular equilibrium. In secular equilibrium, the half-life of parent is much longer than that of daughter. In contrast, the decay product of daughter is much greater than that of parent. The activity of daughter equals the activity of parent. That means the rate of disintegration of parent, it is equal to the rate of formation of daughter. That's why we will write here A1 it is equal to A2 because lambda 1 is neglected compared to lambda 2. So starting with nothing but the parent, the time to reach secular equilibrium is roughly 5 to 10 half-lives of the daughter. Secular equilibrium time, it is in between 5 to 10 times of the daughter. And if we plot the graph of activity versus time, we have this is the nature of the secular equilibrium. Here we have the decay product activity. Here there is no equilibrium, and here this is the parent activity. Then it is not for your study. So we will see the examples of secular equilibrium. Here germanium 68 has half-life of 280 days and decays to germanium having 68 whose half-life time is 68 minutes. The activity of pure sample of germanium 68 is calibrated to be 450 millicurie at noon Tuesday. This is the practically they have proved. Again, you will see the another examples of secular equilibrium, and then we will see the next equilibrium, that is transient equilibrium. Transient equilibrium established if the parent nucleus half-life is not much greater than that of the daughter. That means T2 is less than T1 and lambda 2 it is greater than lambda 1. The time to reach transient equilibrium is 5 to 10 half-lives of the daughter. When transient equilibrium is reached, the daughter activity exceeds that of the parent and the daughter activity decreases according to the half-life time. And if you plot the graph of activity versus time of, then the nature of the graph here it is like this. This red line it is for parent activity, then this blue line it is for decay product activity, and here there is no equilibrium. This is the graph of transient equilibrium. And example of this here, yttrium 87 decays to strontium here 87. The activity of a pure sample of yttrium is calibrated. That means here the yttrium and strontium there is a transient equilibrium. Again there are some the third type, that is the when there is a no equilibrium condition. Here if parent's half-life is shorter than that of daughter, equilibrium cannot be achieved. The daughter activity increases from 0, reaches to a maximum and decreases at a rate primarily determined by its own half-life. There is no increase in the total activity with time. the activity will decrease, and the nature of the graph here it is like this. Then we will see the next point, that is the range of alpha particle. Here all of you know alpha particles are nothing but the helium nucleus having mass 4 units and atomic number 2. Alpha particles are dense positively charged particles identical to helium nuclei, and due to the heavier inner mass they travels in a straight line path. Here heavier than other nuclear emission and thus have lesser mean velocity than other emission of same kinetic energy. Due to their larger size and lesser penetration power, they ionizes the gases through which they passes. And you know the range of alpha particle, it is nothing but the distance traveled by the alpha particle from its source before ceasing, that means before stopping the ionization of the gas, and that range it may be 4 to 10 milli electron volt in the air, and this increases depending on the nature of the gas as well as the kinetic energy of the particle. And you know range it is proportional to the kinetic energy. Then alpha particles interact with matter causing ionization. Here the one remaining point, that is the Geiger-Newton relation, and Geiger-Newton relation it is the relationship between half-lifetime and decay constant of the radioactive elements, and that is the last point, and applications of radioactivity and decay constants we will see later on. Thank you.